to Shri Ajay Seth, Finance Deputy, sir.
Good afternoon to all. Let me share some of the priorities which the finance-related work handled during the course of the presidency. Under the leadership of our Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi, the focus and the vision of India G20 presidency has been to bring focus to the global discourse, to issues which make a difference to people's lives, lead to actionable, decidable, sustainable and inclusive growth, and empower the global growth. Keeping that vision in mind, the priorities which were set and endorsed by finance ministers and governors in February in their first meeting in Bangalore, some of them were how to strengthen multilateral development banks for challenges of 21st century. Similar manner, how to support a strong, sustainable, balanced and inclusive growth in the midst of the current challenges which the world is facing. In the same way, how to manage the debt vulnerabilities which several countries are facing. Yet another priorities was that how the technology can be used for financial inclusion, for productivity gains, for efficiency, for private sector. Similarly, how the new potentials of technology, such as blockchain or crypto, can be beneficial, and yet how to build a policy discourse, the policy approaches, and what set of regulation, building consensus around that. So these were some of the priorities, and during the course of the year, in more than 25 meetings of various working groups, ministers, deputies, these have been deliberated with very intense efforts. And one unique feature of the work has been, I'll put it rather two big elements, two big differences. One was to go beyond the structured meetings and arrange almost 40 seminars, side events, symposiums, inviting domestic as well as global experts and generating a very intense discussion to find a robust way forward. In a similar vein, how to generate the local connect, Jan Bhagidari. Almost 40 events were done on issues which are relevant to people's lives. Based on these deliberations over the course of the year, these recommendations have now been placed for consideration of the leaders. They would be discussing it over the course of next 2 days, and then we will have definite outcomes and we will all share with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. May I request Shri Vardhan Shringla, Chief Coordinator, sir.
Namaskar and good afternoon. The focus of today's press conference is on the G20 New Delhi Summit. But since many of our media friends have joined us only today, I'll briefly begin by taking you through our presidency journey. As you know, we assumed the presidency of the G20 on the 1st of December last year, and we will conclude our presidency on the 30th of November this year. During the course of our presidency, we would have hosted over 220 G20 meetings in 60 different cities across the length and breadth of our country. In keeping with the Prime Minister's vision of a pan-Indian G20, we will have hosted one G20 meeting in at least one G20 meeting in every state and union territory of India. And to my mind, that is the finest example of cooperative federalism that we can see. Now, the effort has been, of course, to take the G20 down to the grassroots level through a process that we call Jan Bhagiyadari, which is a people's participation movement. And whether it is to the G20 University Connect or the G20 Model School or quiz, essay and painting competitions and festivals, the G20 has been popularized and taken down to the grassroots levels in our country. We have also looked at the G20 as an opportunity to highlight and showcase India's rich cultural heritage and diversity and our tourism potential. And in that context, we have hosted over 300 cultural events with the participation of over 18,000 of our cultural artists and exponents. Of course, we have also made our presidency an inclusive one. Sherpa has already mentioned that we've had very significant participation from the Global South and from Africa. We would have received a total of about 100,000 visitors for our G20 presidency from over 125 nationalities. And for many of them, this has been the discovery of a new India. And I think that has been very significant from their point of view. Clearly, the G20 presidency will bring economic benefits to our country and to our citizens, and that's also been a very important objective. Now, when you organize such a huge exercise, an unprecedented and uniquely Indian presidency, you do need an organizational base. And we have started on the organization and planning of the G20 as early as the beginning of last year, 1.5 years before today's eve of the summit. We have set up the G20 Secretariat. In this process, it has been a whole of government approach and a whole of nation approach. And every single Indian citizen has been involved in that effort. And it's very important to note that about 15 million of our citizens have been directly involved in the participation of some G20 event or the other across our country. So in that organizational endeavor, we've had guidance from the Prime Minister himself, from cabinet ministers. There is a coordination committee which has been set up under the Principal Secretary to the Prime Minister, which includes the NSA, which includes cabinet secretaries, senior secretaries, Sherpa and all of us here. And this committee has been meeting regularly. It's met at least 9 times formally, but many times informally, and has provided extensive guidance on every aspect and overseen every aspect of the presidency's organization and management. So I think that was important. Now, on the summit itself, of course, Foreign Secretary and Sherpa will take you through the program elements, but it's important for you to know what else is there and what are the activities and exhibitions and other events which are within the Bharat Mandapam, within the G20 Summit complex. Of course, the media center is one that you have seen. Both halls 4 and 5 have been earmarked for the media center. We expect to host between 2,000 and 3,000 international and domestic media here. It will be a state-of-the-art media center with over 1,300 workstations, high-speed internet, and Additional Secretary XP would have communicated to you the other aspects of this media center. There is an emphasis on the cultural aspects of our presidency as well. There is a very unique exhibition which is called the Cultural Corridor, which will be on display at the convention center. This involves the display of cultural artifacts and objects from different countries, both tangible and intangible heritage, but also natural heritage. So this has some very, very interesting exhibits, which the details of which will be available with you. We also have an immersive display, which has, again, some of the best illustrations of every country that is a part of our G20 presidency. And all of this, again, is at the convention center. There's a democracy cube, which is also there. And what we will certainly do is that we'll make this available, we'll make this open to the media and the public after we finish the immediate summit. And this would be a very interesting exhibition to see. Besides that, we have the Mother of Democracy exhibition. India is the largest democracy, vibrant democracy over the ages, has arranged an exhibition which would be essentially narrating the 7,000-year tradition of democracy in our country from the ancient to the modern. There will be 26 interactive panels which would be available in all of the G20 languages. There are apparently 16 languages in which this will be available. There is also a bronze replica of a girl from the Sindhu Saraswati era 2,500 to 3,500 years before. And this is a very unique part of the exhibition, at the center of the exhibition. And there will also be someone who will greet everybody. It's artificial intelligence driven, so it's a technology oriented platform. And of course, the person who will greet will also provide an introduction to India's age-old democratic traditions in their respective languages. You are also aware that we will have, at the time of the dinner that will be hosted tomorrow by our president, there will be a musical ensemble which will play in the background. This, of course, will represent, again, musicians from all parts of our country, but it will also include musical traditions of every nature, whether it's Hindustani, Carnatic, folk, bhajans. Every aspect of music in our country will be covered by these 77 musicians, who would also include young students, people who have some disabilities, but also people who are from different walks of life across our country. They will also be displaying some very rare instruments, musical instruments, which are hardly ever seen or played in our country, but this is something that is an opportunity for us to see so many rare instruments coming together in this particular area. Now, there will be a strong emphasis on technology, especially technology that is linked to digital public infrastructure. And in that context, we will have a few exhibitions at the media center. If you enter the foyer of the media center, you will see a display by our Ministry of Information Technology, which is basically a Digital India Experience Zone, which will have the display of all of the mobile apps and the platforms under which we have arranged to deliver development to the grassroots levels in India, right from Aadhaar to UPI, and this entire India stack will be available. And if any of you do fall sick or have any medical issues, please ensure that you go and connect with eSanjeevani, a digital platform that will have a doctor advise you immediately on the spot. Similarly, we have a Reserve Bank of India Innovation Hub, which is again in the media center. And this Innovation Hub will display technologies that fintech, which has not yet been introduced to the public domain. These are still in the pilot stages. One of them is the central bank digital currency, through which even international media who are here, who don't have bank accounts in India, will be able to get some money in their mobile wallets and will be able to use that digitally to buy products in our crafts mela, which will be in the adjoining hall number 3. And this crafts mela will also, each stall of the crafts mela, which represents a different state or union territory of India, displaying, as Sherpa mentioned, the ODOP products and geographical indicator products, will have a QR code compatible with your mobile wallet, the digital currency, and with the UPI. We will also have a frictionless credit display, which basically again is a cutting-edge technology under which any credit to be given, say, to our farmers, the information relating to that would be immediately available on your mobile phone or your iPad, from the land records to your Aadhaar to your previous credit history. And this will enable credit to be given within a few minutes of time with each of the farmers. And so from that point of view, I think we also have, I hope all of you have downloaded our digital app, the G20 India digital app, which is again a state-of-the-art app, which enables you to get this in any language in the G20. You can get it in Portuguese, in German, in Japanese. And this will also enable you to talk to anybody who doesn't understand your language, say from Hindi to Japanese or from Portuguese to German. It will be instant conversation through the app. You can navigate from one part of the Bharat Mandapam to any other part of this complex. It will enable you to get there without a problem. And any information that you may need on our presidency, on the G20, on India, UPI, any aspects of this is available. And of course, if you feel like a yoga break, that's also there on our app. So I'll stop here. I'm sure there are many other things, but we will stop. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. May I hand over to Foreign Secretary?